What's up, you guys? It's Jonno! Welcome to another episode of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Today I got a lit one for you because I have completed the Perfect Pokedex! Yes, you guys, I did it! I completed every single Pokedex entry in the entire game. I'm going to scroll through real quick and show you guys that I did in fact do it, just to prove it to you, and then we'll talk about a couple of very important questions along the way, such as, why did you do it, Jonno? And which one was the hardest one to complete? I'm going to share all of that for you right now on this video. Let's go ahead and get through it. Now, first off, a lot of people are going to be wondering, Jonno, why did you do this? It must have taken you over 100 hours, and yes, I know for a fact it took me over 100 hours to get every single one of these done. It took absolute ages to get this done, but the reason I did it is for shiny hunting, you guys. You know I'm a shiny hunter. You know I want to get that Shiny Living Dex, and the best way to get the best shiny odds is to get the shiny charm, of course, and to get the perfect Pokedex entry on any Pokemon that you want to shine. And since I want to get every single shiny Pokemon, I decided I would get the perfect Pokedex on every single Pokemon. Now, I told myself when I first got started with this game, I'm not going to get perfect Pokedex entries. That's crazy. But then once I heard about the fact that you get better shiny odds, I was like, oh no, I actually have to do this. Like, if I want to get the best shiny odds possible, I really need to do this. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I started using basically a dual screen strategy. What is that? You guys have probably heard of dual screening before. It's when you're on your phone and watching TV at the same time, or you're watching a movie and you're on your Switch at the same time. Anytime that you have two devices in front of you for entertainment purposes, that is dual screening. And I usually don't do any dual screening, and I told myself, you know what, for this one instance, I am gonna have to start dual screening. So I did start dual screening in order to get this done. Anytime I was on the couch watching the news, I would do my perfect Pokedex entries. Anytime that I was sitting around watching movies or watching TV shows with wifey, I would get my Nintendo Switch out and I would start doing perfect Pokedex entries. And as you can see here, I have scrolled through every single one of them, including the legendaries, and I got every single perfect Pokedex entry on every single Pokemon. I am not even kidding with you guys. It's done. It took me weeks to get this done. I know it was at least over 100 hours put into the game. You guys can see here that I have about 392, almost 400 hours on the game, and probably about 1/4 of that or more was dedicated to getting these perfect Pokedex entries done. Now, another reason I got this done is because it has given me so much more value for my $60 investment in this game. You guys know I played Pokemon Let's Go for over 3 years. Why did I do it? Because I wanted to get the Shiny Living Dex, and I just really wanted to get my money's worth out of that game. $60 is a lot to pay for a game and then put it on the shelf after a month of playing it, which I've seen so many people do with this game, which really makes me cry tears, because I'm like, you guys, it's one of the best Pokemon games to ever come out on the Switch. How could you shelve it after so little time? But, you know, to each their own. Everybody has their own game style. Everybody plays their own way, and I respect that. But for me, I really like to get my money's worth out of a game, and that's why I'm doing Shiny Living Dex on this particular game. I love the overworld shinies. That's why I loved Pokemon Let's Go as well. You guys know I played Pokemon Let's Go for over 3 years, and one of those years was spent just trying to get one Pokemon Shiny Kabuto. For those of you who remember it, it was absolutely legendary when I finally got it. But yes, I played that game forever. I completed the Shiny Living Dex series. I do highly recommend to watch my 250 shiny Pokemon reactions. That's pinned on the front page of my channel in case you're looking for it. It's every single shiny reaction that I ever got in Pokemon Let's Go in one big massive 9-hour compilation. Great video, by the way. But yes, I'm going to do the same thing on this game. I'm already well on my way to getting every single shiny Pokemon. I've probably got about half of them by now, and I attribute a lot of my success to getting these perfect Pokedex entries because I'm constantly getting shiny Pokemon from having these perfect Pokedex entries as well as the shiny charm. I'm like a shiny magnet, you guys. So I do recommend to do this if you have the time, and if you do some dual screening along the way. Maybe you're watching a movie or you're watching a TV show that you don't need to pay attention to. Sometimes I watch a lot of TV shows that you have to read the subtitles because they're in different languages, so you kind of have to pay attention to those ones. But there's some shows where you could dual screen and get away with it. Sometimes you're watching the news or watching whatever you watch, you could get away with dual screening, okay? So that strategy actually frees up a whole lot of time for you to get these perfect Pokedex entries done. Now, another reason that I did this, not just to get the most bang for my buck and not just to get all the shiny Pokemon, was was really just because I'm a completionist. I'm one of those people who likes to 100% a game. I like to get everything done that you can possibly do in the game. So the great shiny odds is fantastic. That's the number one reason why I did this. But I also just really love the idea that it's done. Once it's done forever. I never have to do it again. I don't even have to think about perfect Pokedex entries ever again because they're all done. So that's a really great feeling, and I just love knowing that I 100%ed this game. I still have some requests to do. I still have some shiny Pokemon to catch, but this is done and it's out of the way, and now I can run through the land of Hisui freely and know that I have the best shiny odds on every single Pokemon that I encounter. So that's a really, really, really good feeling. Now I will stop in and look at a couple of these and show you the really, really hard ones. Obviously, Magnemite was really hard because it only spawns in space-time distortions, so you got to really be careful about how you complete the research. Look, I had to catch 15 Magnemites, and 5 of them had to be small specimens. That took forever to get 15 Magnemites. That's a minimum of 5 distortions, and that's if you get Magnemite every single time, but you're not going to get Magnemite every single time because sometimes Magneton will spawn. I even had Magnezone spawn, so it was very difficult to get all of those different entries. Obviously, if you're going to get 15 Magnemites, you want to evolve all 15 of them because you can get the 10 Magneton that you need, and you can get the 15 Magnezone that you need in order to get the perfect Pokedex on those ones as well. So don't trash those Magnemites when you're done with them. Don't transfer them away. Evolve them and then transfer them because you're going to get more research done. That's kind of a little hack to get it done faster. There's a bunch of other little hacks that I figured out along the way. Another really, really difficult one was Nosepass. Trying to see 15 Nosepass jump out of ore deposits took me forever. There's only a certain number of ore deposits that they can even spawn in, and they don't always spawn. Sometimes you get Bronzor as well, so that was really difficult. I had to go back and forth to Jubilife over and over again, and it was really hard to get Nosepass to jump out of all of those. Rotom's another interesting one. You have to get all 6 different forms of Rotom, which was very hard because you have to buy the machines from the dude who sells them, and that was really tough because they cost over 100,000 in some cases. He doesn't always have them because his inventory is randomized, so you might have to do some tricks to get him to actually have them so you can buy them. I just got my last Rotom machine just a couple nights ago on stream, and I was so excited that I got it because his inventory is random, so you never know if you're going to get it. And I had the money to buy it, so I finally got my final Rotom form. That took forever. Some of these weren't as hard as others. Weavile was another difficult one because you can only get it from distortions, so that's another tricky one. Rampardos, Cranidos, trying to get the large specimens for Shieldon and Cranidos, man, that took forever. And keep in mind, you guys, when it comes to those large specimens, you can trade them, and you can also trade them for the number caught as well, and you can get those from a friend. If your friend has a large specimen, that's how I got my Shieldons done. Big shout out to Amal, thanks for helping me with that. And then, of course, you want to evolve the Rampardos from Cranidos in order to get the number caught up to 10. Same thing with Bastiodon. You're never going to catch a Bastiodon or a Rampardos. They're so rare. I mean, you will get a couple, but they're extremely rare. But you can evolve them and get it done that way, and that's definitely the way to go. Always utilize evolutions. Same thing for Sizor. You want to utilize evolutions because it's very difficult to get their research done. Now, here's an interesting fact, you guys. This took absolutely forever. There's so many parts of this that took so long that it's crazy. But looking at this one, 70 agile style moves, another 70 agile style moves, another 70 agile style moves. If you look at Lucario, 70 agile style moves. I forget which ones were really high, but I think Garchomp was 100 strong style moves. I can't find Garchomp in here. Oh, there it is. Garchomp, 100 strong style moves. That took me 2 days to complete. I had to sit in 2 different sessions of gameplay to get all 100 of those, and I had to stun it 10 times using items. So the way that I did the stunning 10 times using items is after you stun them the initial time, it takes 4 sticky globs to stun any alpha Pokemon, and then after that, if you stun them again without catching them or interacting with them, you just stun them with the 4 and then try to stun them again, it'll only take 2. And this is a hack, you guys. This will save you a lot of time if you're trying to do these. Make sure that you stun them all in one go because you'll use far less items, and it's much faster because it only takes 2 sticky globs to stun them after you do the initial 4. That's a hack. That'll definitely save you some time. All right, now let's just go through and look at a couple more of these. We're basically done with the list again. We got all of our legendaries. Obviously, you don't have to do Darkrai, Shaman, Manaphy, and Phione unless you own BDSP because those are exclusives, and there's no shame in that. And let's go ahead and look at the hardest one, you guys. What was the hardest entry out of all the entries to do? What was the hardest? I'll tell you, it's right here somewhere. Oh, actually, it's up here somewhere. It was Aipom. Now, you wouldn't believe it, but Aipom was the hardest one, and the reason why is seeing 15 Aipom leap out of trees. There's only 2 trees in the entire game that you can get Aipom to leap out of. So every time I wanted an Aipom to leap out of one of those 2 trees, I had to go back and forth to Jubilee Village and just pray that there would be an Aipom in one of those trees, and most of the time there wasn't, so then I have to go back and forth again. This took me about 2 days to get it done, and seeing 15 leap out of trees was definitely the hardest research task in the entire game, bar none. It was so difficult. It was crazy. Now, some of them were really difficult as well. Defeating 3 Scizor with fire type moves. Obviously, you have to encounter a Scizor in order to do that, and they're only in space-time distortion. So I had to defeat 5 altogether, 3 of them with fire type moves. That means I had to go into space-time distortions and hope that a Scizor would spawn, and they rarely ever did. Another one that was really difficult was Snorlax, and you can see here Snorlax, you have to feed it 50 pieces of food. So I was sitting there throwing food at Snorlax, just praying that he doesn't see me, praying to Lord Arceus that he doesn't see me. And then Snorlax has some weird glitches too. He can't run up a hill and eat food, and Snorlax is in a very hilly territory over where the alpha spawns, so you have to throw the food in just the right spot, not on the beach, not on the hill, otherwise he can't get it. And then on top of that, sometimes Snorlax would spot you, and then he won't eat the food, and he gets mad, and then you have to run away and come back. It was a whole thing. So yeah, some of these were extremely difficult. They can be made a little bit easier by doing evolutions, such as Golem. By using the linking cable item, you could evolve the Golem instead of catching 10 of them, so you wouldn't have to go to the alpha specimen and catch it 10 times. You could just evolve 10 Gravelers to get your 10 Golems. That was pretty easy. Some of those I found little hacks to get them done faster. Some of them require you to use certain moves, such as Rest or Roost. And it takes a really long time to use those moves because they heal you, but if you're already at full health, then you can't heal anymore. So that was a really big issue as well. Now that I've shown you guys everything is all done, it's totally complete, I want to show you a little trick that I used to get all of those done. And basically this area right here on the map is where I spent all of my time, pretty much all of my time. Every time I had to do moves on a certain Pokemon to get their Perfect Pokedex entry, I did them all right here. And that's because these Pokemon are extremely weak, so you could knock them out very quickly. They're not very aggressive, so sometimes they would run, but for the most part they won't run from you. And it's very easy to get these Pokemon to respawn. It's actually incredibly simple to get them to respawn. If you go ahead and catch these Pokemon, or if you make them run away, or in the case of doing the Perfect Pokedex entries, you're going to battle them and use the specific moves. Just like I said, all these Pokemon require specific moves. You can see every single Pokemon, you have to use certain moves, aside from some of the babies. And then in order to use those moves, you have to encounter Pokemon and use them. You have to have that Pokemon in your party and then go use those moves. So once you get those Pokemon to run, like I just got that Bidoof to run, if you catch them or if you defeat them or if they run away from you, you can force them to respawn. This is a little known secret. Not everybody knows about this. I never hear that many people talk about this. This is also a shiny hunting method for you shiny hunters out there, okay? I'm resting to a different time period, so it was midday when I got that Bidoof to run away. Now I rested till the morning. You can tell what time it is at the top right of the map right there, and I have to look at that pretty often because oftentimes I forget what time it is. And now, lo and behold, the Bidoof is back. You can make Pokemon respawn in this game really quickly. So what I would do is I would go and battle all these Pokemon, use up my strong style moves, use up my agile style moves, and then once I get done with that, I would go on to the next Pokemon, use up my strong style moves, use up my agile style moves, make sure I'm doing the moves that I'm required to do, and then once I get done with all of these Bidoof right here, then I would jump over and do all of the Shinx over here, and the Shinx are pretty aggressive, which is helpful if you're trying to do moves like Roost, or trying to do moves where you have to heal yourself like Recover. So then I would fight all of these Shinx right here, and then I would come down, and there's a spawn right here that usually has 2 Pokemon. Sometimes it's an Eevee, sometimes it's a Bidoof. Then there's a spawn over here that has 2 Pokemon. Sometimes it's Bidoof, and sometimes it's Ponyta. And then I come right here, and there's 2 Pokemon. Usually it's Ponyta and Bidoof. Sometimes it's Eevee as well. And then I come right over here and do these 2 Pokemon, Ponyta and Bidoof usually. Sometimes you get Eevee as well. Then there's a couple Pokemon that spawn right here. There's also a couple of Buizel's that spawn right here, which are helpful because they're more aggressive than the other Pokemon, so they'll attack you, which is useful for some of the moves that you have to do. Then there's also 2 Pokemon that spawn right here. Okay, sometimes it's 1 Pokemon, you don't always get 2. Sometimes if I was strong enough, I would come and face the Rapidash as well. And then sometimes if I was really desperate, I would come over here and do all of the Wurmples. But the Wurmples do have a pretty high chance to run, so it can be a little frustrating trying to work with them. The Bidoofs really don't run that much. It may seem like they do, but they don't. So you can get the work done on Bidoof. And sometimes there would be Mime Jr. over here as well. Now, once I get done with all of those Pokemon, right, you can see I flew from here all the way down. I probably battled about 15 to 20 Pokemon along the way. Sometimes I would even come over here and do the Buizel's that are on this side as well if you need more aggressive Pokemon. And also sometimes if I have strong Pokemon like Alpha Specimens, I would come over and do Grueling Grove, especially if you need aggressive Pokemon. There are aggressive Pokemon over here that will attack you. Sometimes you need it, like I said, to do Roost or do those other moves that heal you. You can't do those moves unless you actually have damage. If you're at full health, the move will fail and it doesn't count. Okay, then once I get done with all of that, I would come back up to camp, and usually by the time I got done with all of that, I wouldn't even need to rest, although you can rest if you want to. But if you're trying to get space-time distortions while you're doing this, then don't rest. I don't recommend it. But you can rest and make these Pokemon respawn, or usually they're already back because it takes so long to get all that done. And then I just start over. I just go in a big circle all the way through here. It's kind of like a zigzaggy circle. And then once I get done, I just go right on back to camp and do it all over again. That was my grind, you guys. That was my grind. That's why I had so many shiny Bidoofs to give away on my live stream. That's why I had shiny Wurmple to give away on my live stream. I ended up with a shiny Ponyta to give away. I had a bunch of shiny giveaways on my live stream. I even ended up with a bunch of shiny Shinx from doing that process, which was great because I love shiny Shinx. And I even got a shiny Alpha Wurmple, which was my really big prize from doing this whole thing. So anyway, you guys, that's pretty much my video. I finished the Perfect Pokedex. I did every single Pokemon Perfect Pokedex. The really time-consuming part was doing all the moves that were required and chasing down Pokemon with small specimens and large specimens, sometimes feeding them a million times. Like Lickitung, I had to feed 50 times. That took a really long time. And sometimes you had to see Pokemon jump out of trees and see Pokemon jump out of ore deposits. Some of those took a really long time as well. I believe Combee was one of those that I had to see leap out of trees. And it was 40, you guys. Look at this. 40 Combee leaping out of trees. You would think that that'd be the hardest one, but getting 15 Aipoms to leap out of trees was actually harder than Combee because Combee is so much more common in trees. And there's other Pokemon too, like Cherubi I had to see leap out of trees, Cherim I had to see leap out of trees. Those ones took a really, really, really long time to get all of them out of trees. And there's a few more things I'm probably not even mentioning. If you guys have questions, I'll answer all the questions down in the comments. If you want to know a special way to get a certain Pokedex entry to the max, maybe a way to do it faster, let me know. I'm happy to share all the tips that I gained, but I pretty much shared everything I have to share in this video. I did make a different version of this video and it was over 35 minutes and I realized I talk too much. So I tried to pare this down to the most important information and just show you guys exactly what I was working on and how I got it done. But basically doing all those moves is the one that really takes the longest amount of time. Another one before I go, I'll give you one last tidbit. Catching Blissey without being spotted took forever because Blissey doesn't like to get caught, and once it bounces out of the Pokeball, it spots you, and then you have to start the process over. So I did that in Alabaster Icelands where there's 2 Blissey spawns that are always there, and it took me ages as well. So basically this whole thing, it was guaranteed over 100 hours to get all of this done, and some of the ones that took the longest were the legendaries, trying to get all their moves done. Garchomp doing 100 strong style moves, doing the fossils took absolutely forever as well. But in the end, it was worth it because now as I go through the game, I'm going to have the best shiny odds possible and I'll just have the best chance to get shinies. And maybe if they ever put shiny legendaries in this game, these Perfect Pokedex entries on the legendaries will pay off. But right now, I just did it to complete the game and be a completionist and get 100% because otherwise they're pretty much useless. There's no point to do them, but I did them anyway just so I could say that I got every single one done. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for this video. I know it was a long one, so thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And please put the sparkle animation down in the comments. You know the sparkle emoji, the one that has the little sparkly, put that down in the comments and prove to me that you watched all the way until the end. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you to all of my amazing subscribers, and peace!